You know, a great request from a great friend of our channel, Andrew Lippard. Andrew, thanks for this. Now, Andrew talked about this player in glowing terms in a recent email. The fact was he wanted to be an enforcer in the NHL, and he chased that dream all the way from major junior to the minors, all the way to the major leagues. But his name suited his goal, because the word chasser in French, translated in English, means one person who chases something or successfully chases something down. Now, Denis Chasse wasn't the greatest enforcer in minor league or NHL history, but his perseverance as an undrafted player deserves our respect, because he ended up playing with 4 teams in the NHL, despite the fact that he was given a little chance by pro scouts at the end of his major junior career. Now, Denis was born in Montreal, February 7, 1970. Big drink of water, 6'2", 190, played right wing, shot right, so you knew he had a lot of presence on the ice. Now, for a lot of people, he first came into major prominence in one of the biggest years for the Quebec International Pee Wee Hockey Tournament. This was 1983. He was on a squad from Mercier, Quebec that did quite well at the event. Now, if anybody knows Mercier, Quebec, you have some of the best minor league players in that region of the Belle Province. Now, Chasse began his major junior career playing in the Q. He broke in with a Saint Jean Castor in 1988 with 1 assist in 13 games. Now, 89, he split time between Verdun and Drummondville with 67 games, 27 goals, 53 points, with 140 minutes and penalties. Now, 1990, he moved to Chicoutimi, 33 goals, 56 assists for 89 points and 11 points in the playoffs. But his big year in 91 was Drummondville. 62 games, 101 points, 47 goals, 246 minutes and penalties. Now, we wonder why he was undrafted. Well, I tell you why. Is because that part of the major junior prospects across Canada, you had the elite, while the secondary players, or what they call like him, who had spent multiple years in the league, weren't really taking enough notice. Now, in the Q, he did establish himself as a high-scoring forward. Now, the enforcer, I saw several of his fights, and he was a rugged guy in the ice, but kind of like a power forward. In certain games, he was more an enforcer. In certain games, he was more the Cam Neely meets the Lindros brothers. Now, the 246 minutes and penalties didn't appeal to a lot of teams, but appealed to Quebec Nordiques. The Nordiques were always trying to get francophones who were big goal scorers that could drop the dukes, that could protect the smaller players on the team. Now, he signed as a free agent with the Nordiques in 91. From there, he reported to the very popular Halifax Citadels of the AHL, where he became a hometown favorite. He played 2 solid years with Halifax, notching 61 and 76 points, respectively. Now, for the 94 season, Chasse joined the Cornwall Aces and scored 66 points in 48 games. Midway through the 94 season, he was traded to the St. Louis Blues, of all people, and made his Blues debut towards the end of the season, appearing in 3 games. Now, Chasse earned a full-time spot with the Blues in the 95 lockout season, playing in 47 games with 16 points. He also surprised many with the play in the playoffs that year with 8 points in 7 games. However, the 96 season was a rough one for Chasse, as he played for 3 teams, 42 games with the Blues, 3 with the Capitals, and 15 with the Jets, while only scoring 3 points the whole year. Now, he eventually signed as a free agent with the Senators for the 97 season. He played 22 games in what would be his last stint in the NHL. Now, Chasse then played a few years in Europe, began with a season in the Deutsche Eishockey Liga in Germany, splitting the season with Alder and Augsburger. He then spent 3 seasons in the UK, playing the now-defunct Ice Hockey Super League, spending 2 seasons with the Bracknell Bees and 1 with the Cardiff Devils, before retiring in 2001. Now, his roots in Halifax are deep, and I'll tell you why. He is married to Carole Doyle Chasse. Together they have 3 children, Dani, Anika, and Blake, and he has spent time in Halifax, of all things, working for Allstate Insurance. Now, you can open a lot of doors as an insurance agent when you're a former pro, and that's what he just did. But my biggest regret, ladies and gentlemen, I never saw him play with the Quebec Nordiques. I look at that 93 season, they could have used him in the playoffs against Montreal. I don't think Montreal would have been pushed around by Chasse, but I think it really would have helped Quebec focus in on protecting their players that needed protected. I still don't understand why he was not called up in those 2 years in Halifax, because 61 goals and 136 points and 500 minutes in penalties wasn't enough. That's quite bizarre. Now, we look at some of the minor league teams he played with as well. He played with Worcester in 96, 3 games. That was a bizarre season, ladies and gentlemen. Playing with St. Louis, Worcester, Washington, Winnipeg. Now, a strange turn of events. 97, he also played with Detroit Vipers for 9 games, and the Indianapolis Ice as one of their playoff call-ups, where he had 2 points in 4 playoff games with 23 minutes and penalties. That was his last kick in the can, of course, of North American pro hockey. Now, in the German league, he had 44 games, 8 goals, 11 assists for 19 points. With the Blacktail Bees over 2 seasons, 31 goals. And Cardiff was a very, very popular team, still is actually amongst the alumni. He had 23 points in 36 contests in 01. So final NHL totals: 132 games, 11 goals, 14 assists for 25 points, 292 minutes and penalties, 8 points in 7 playoff games, including 1 big goal. And 95, St. Louis had a very strong team, but again, with Chasse and the rest of the younger players. So let's look at this very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. He should have been drafted. He wasn't. He should have played with the Nordiques. He didn't. He would have been a nice fit for the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Montreal Canadiens. But I look at this, okay? He was in the minors in 92 and 93. You're telling me a good francophone guy from Montreal with a little bit of enforcer power couldn't make it in Quebec? I don't know if somebody in upper management, the Nordiques, had a brain fart, but there was a conversation that they had. There was a call-in show in the Maritimes, and Chasse came up and talking about how the Nordiques were getting pushed around on the road. He said all you have to do is call up Chasse. If anybody knows any of the Quebec management can explain to me why he was never called up even for 1 to 5 games, give him a tryout. Because in Halifax, he was a very, very popular guy. And, you know, the big francophone Acadian influence in Halifax and on the road, he drew a lot of fans to the rink. And from what I heard, he was very good in the community, which shows the dedication. And put it this way, to work for Allstate, this is not a free advertisement, you got to be smart to work for Allstate. So him to go into insurance is no surprise to me, because I heard he's a pretty genial guy. So anyway, that's where it comes from. So that's the story of the career of Denis Chasse, who chased the career in the NHL and made it. Andrew, thanks a lot for the requests. If you like what we're doing here, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. And sorry for the bad news as well. Looks like the Montreal Expo return has been thrown out the window. Maybe doing a podcast the next few days. Major League Baseball has turned down the merge between Tampa and Montreal for sharing a season. So 2027 is the next goal date. Thanks for listening. Have a good evening. Bye.